going to read you a story. It's not a bedtime story, but it made my hair stand on end. And this has to be anonymous. Adrian, the BBC radio lot? Back in the 2000s, I and a colleague went to the BBC radio management of the time and highlighted very clearly that a certain dance DJ was cheating the public and industry with some total unimpartial activity on a BBC show. We provided clear and precise previous show logs to support the meeting. Now, the DJ had an expensive personal contract earning him a huge advance payment for a rolling compilation CD that was compilation CD was barely selling 10,000 copies with a now defunct music label, financed by a major international record company, who were really, in essence, buying direct access to a BBC radio DJ for their future releases. This said, DJ had personally persuaded this label, run by a former managing director for the aforementioned major international company, to sign a cover dance release of an updated old pop song, which had no future potential artist development. It was a featured bygone artist of no real dance music credibility. The said DJ played the release 10 weeks in a row on his show in the vital first hour of the programme, when he had the largest potential audience. He made it his best new tune of the week and also interviewed the producer on his pre-weekend show, something the DJ very, very rarely did for an unknown producer, unless they were an obvious new global talent. Then the said DJ doorstepped an important daytime DJ and playlist member personally early one morning outside the station, asking them to put the release forward for an extremely valuable playlist slot, something the DJ had never done before for a new release. The record was given a coveted A-list position on the station, normally 20 spins a week. It became a hit and actually achieved a number one with the major company's massive sales machine, the same company financing the big advance to the DJ, pushing the release hard to national retail, Woolies, Our Price, etc. There's no profit in the sales of singles, but lots to be earned in compilation deals domestically and internationally. Adrian, I knew the game then inside out with the success of both certain artists. And I'm not going to mention the artists. They're big international names, so that I don't identify the person, the writer. The radio DJ, his conduct stunk. The record quickly disappeared. The next release by the producer, without the previous coercing, was ignored, and that producer never ever had another hit. But the crux of me mentioning this was that they, the BBC, the management of the time, never did anything about the clear misuse for personal gain by this DJ. They in fact told him, the DJ, about the meeting and refused to ask the major international record label for a copy of the DJ's compilation contract, which would clearly reveal the motive for the support of the said release, and that they themselves had been manipulated by this particular person, who stood to substantially gain financially from the single's success. And he, the said DJ, could continue with the next part of his contract and the forthcoming advances. In terms of impartiality, it is the BBC's responsibility to the licence-paying public to fully investigate any or all misuse of position, especially if financial gain is suspected and very obvious. I know this personally from receiving the BBC Code of Conduct myself, some 50 pages from Greg Dyke when he was then BBC Director General. It's a BBC rule book, if you will, that every BBC contracted employee, direct or freelance, as I was then, had to study and strictly adhere to. I've had that BBC bollocks on my mind for 18 years. This week, with the terrible sad passing of Steve Wright, the best British radio DJ ever, it leaves a very cold reminder of the publicly funded corporation's potential for making huge, impactful errors. They took away, that's Steve Wright, they took away his purpose in life for no reason. Like Terry Wogan, Steve Wright could have continued inspiring other broadcasters and DJs well into his later years. Oh, by the way, the person mentioned above is still earning a large contract with the BBC, as paid for by the British public, and was often given a large endorsement by other BBC presenters prior to the start of his programme. Yet he is not fit to polish the shoes of the mighty righty in talent or ethics. There is so much more the British licensing paying public do not know. Rest in peace, Steve Wright. I loved every minute of working with you as a support DJ on your gigs, and always really enjoyed your shows.